Hey friends, my name is Aaron Scarbrough. Welcome to Let's Make Art. Today we're going to be doing another still life. It's going to be an avocado study, which is very exciting.
Yes, it is.
I can see Keenan smiling. He's anticipating this. He's been looking forward to this for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, no more boring grapefruits. We're going back to the...
We want the good fat in our lives.
Yes, exactly. Avocados. For some reason, they make our parents angry. But yeah, this it's going to be a fun still life. Fairly simple. I've broken it down into a few steps here. And by the way, this is part one of a two-part video. So we'll take a short break after we hit one of these steps. That's a good stopping point, and we'll just go from there. So first step in this process is going to be drawing it out. We're just going to do a basic outline of the shapes and the shadows that you find in this particular piece. Then we're going to be doing just like a thin underpainting, just getting the basic colors down over the whole piece of paper until the whole thing's covered, so we have something to work from. Then we're going to...
Aaron, quick question.
Yeah.
While you're pointing at it, could you bring it directly in front of you?
The
painting, yeah.
The actual painting?
Yep.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You know, so if you're going to point at it...
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So in the underpainting, obviously that means this whole thing. We're going to start within the underpainting. We're going to start with the actual meat of the avocado.
Meat.
Yes. Is that the right?
Yeah, sure.
It sounds weird.
The meat of the avocado, I like it.
Yeah, the bulk of the avocado. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to do like the table. We're going to put just like a thin layer of this lovely pink down there, and then we're going to add shadows. Then we're going to go to the pit, and I think, yeah, we're going to do the pit and the pit's shadow, where there used to be a pit over here, this like cavity area.
Oh, the cavity.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm killing it.
You are, that's nice.
With the anatomy of an avocado. Let's see what's next. And then we're going to do the outline of the avocado skin. Is that the right? Yeah, skin.
I like skin, yeah.
And then we're going to take a break and think about what we've done.
Whether they're good or bad choices.
Yeah, we're going to have a moment of reflection. And that's good practice for whenever you're making a painting, really. Step away for a second, because chances are when you come back to it, you'll be seeing it more clearly and more rationally, which is good. So, colors. Oh wait, no. So when we come back, we're gonna tune everything up. We're gonna make sure that
You want to pull that down again real quick?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry. So we're gonna make sure that all of our edges are as crisp as we want them to be. And then my favorite part at the end of this, after we've tuned everything up, we're gonna go in with our brightest brights, and that's like my favorite part of any painting, is going in and putting in highlights, because it gets exciting.
Yeah, it does. I totally know.
This is high octane stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we're gonna stick with the primaries for this one as well, and so for that, I say primaries because we're using a yellow, a red, a blue, and a white. And as far as the specific colors that we're using, the jury's still out on how to pronounce this, but the red we're using is Pyroli. I don't know what that means, but it's a good red.
It named itself, so
yeah,
it has its own pronunciation, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, it's best practice, I think, when you're starting out painting, I think it's best to just start with the primary, so you learn how to mix and all that. With these particular colors that we selected for this, it's like this ultramarine blue that we're using. I like using this because it's easy to, it's like a deep, rich blue. So if you got to have dark values, you can get to it quickly from this. It works perfectly for this avocado because you got that like dark green skin, and then you got like dark browns and stuff, and it's good to have this rather than some kind of like lighter blue that
might have more undertones of a different color.
Exactly. Yep. So we went through that. So we got ultramarine blue, we got primary yellow, which is just kind of a standard yellow, you know.
Yeah, yellow.
And then titanium white. Yeah, I think we can start.
Nice.
What do you think?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. So let's start the drawing process.
Went a little fancy. Process.
I'm trying, yeah. I want them to get their money's worth.
That's right.
So a couple of things to notice before like we even start drawing these out. The one on the left that actually has the pit in it.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you want to bring that down a little farther so we can?
You got it.
Thank you. Nice.
Yes. That's kind of that should be the name of the show.
Bring it down a little farther.
Bring it down a little farther with Aaron.
Or you could use the reference photo on the left.
You
know, and then you don't have to have that big one covering your page.
That's a good idea.
I'm just here for you. You know.
Wait, so the camera's on this one right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you bring it down a little more.
Just a little more.
There you go.
Okay. So. So the first thing to notice with this particular orientation, the way we have it laid out, they're not straight up and down. I didn't lay these halves like straight up and down. So like this one is kind of like leaning a little bit to the left if you're looking at the sheet of paper. So let's just start with that one. And it's good to notice like the negative space here. So, you know, you can draw a shape like this just by looking at it, and that's fairly easy. But to get it to scale, sometimes it's helpful to look at how much negative space in the background, or in this case, the table, is showing. So you can kind of like, okay, there's, you know, in proportion to how big the frame is.
Yeah. So compositionally, you're talking right now.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. So it comes all the way to the top almost. So let's just kind of make an edge there. And the good thing is this is acrylic painting, you know, so it's nothing's final. We can cover up anything. So don't get too stressed, you know?
I will not get very stressed currently.
You don't have stress. I'm just kidding. If I were the camera guy, that would stress me out.
It used to stress me out.
Did it?
There are phases, yeah.
I don't like technology too much, you know?
Yeah, I'm a big
That
fan of
stresses me out.
technology.
I can tell. All right, so that's pretty close. And you know, avocados, of course, like they come in different shapes and sizes, but as a general rule, they're kind of pear-shaped. They have a fat bottom and kind of a skinnier top, or vice versa, depending on how you look at it. And the way this is laid out, we're looking like pretty much directly over the avocados. So there's not like a lot of underside or skin showing. We'll get to that, but it's basically just like a thin green, dark green line around the whole thing. And then we got to kind of center. The pit is also kind of, you know, it's not a perfect sphere. So it's kind of pointing the same direction, you know? So I'd say it starts right about there. Maybe something like that. And this is just very general at this point. We're just gonna kind of, you know, you're just setting yourself up for success when you start painting. Let's do the other one. And it's, it's pretty much, in theory, it's just a reverse of the same shape since we cut it in half. All right.
I'm a big fan of avocados.
Dude, they're good, and they're filling, which is rare for a vegetable. It is a vegetable, right?
No
It's
idea.
not
I
one
think
of
it has a
those-
seed, so it may be a fruit.
Really?
I'll look it up for you. I'll Google it for you.
This is important.
This is.
And then, when you're making this hole, this cavity, just keep in mind that it's basically the reverse of what you did on the other one. Now I've noticed, like with this particular avocado, which I actually bought this morning, and cut it in half just to finalize this still life. That's something, I would encourage everyone to do. Still lifes, that's what's so cool about them. You can get as creative as you want or be as traditional as you want. Everyone has access to fruits and veggies or meat or whatever you want to do. So you can come up with your own. And now I'm just going to make the shadow, which it kind of, we're including the shadow in here just so that they don't look flat, I want them to kind of pop off the page here. And having this little shadow will do wonders for you in that respect. Shadows in paintings, shadows determine how real something looks and the form of an actual object. I think I said this in the last video, but just in case, it's weird to think about. It's the opposite of reality, because objects cast shadows in reality, but in painting, shadows make the reality.
That's a fun way to think about it.
Yeah, that's how I like to think of it.
I like to look at it that way.
Okay, I think that'll do for the outline. We're just going to paint over it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get going here. So for the actual, I think we called it the meat of the avocado here. It's basically, if you look at an avocado, it gets more and more white and like creamy and maybe a little bit of yellow, like the farther in you go from the edges. The edges have like this like really cool green. You got the skin, and then you've got like this green layer around, and then it fades into kind of a cream color, and we're even gonna make parts of it where it's shiny, like actual white, on the actual meat of the avocado. So just in a very general sense, we're gonna mix, first of all, we're gonna mix white and our primary yellow. You know what? I forgot to go over the brushes. Do you want me to?
Tell us what brushes we're using.
Okay. So the brushes we're going to do this whole painting with, we're going to do this flat brush. It's a 3/4 inch flat brush, and this is your best friend. Most of the painting can be done with this. And I love just flat brushes, period, because in my mind they're more versatile than just like a round brush. I don't really use round brushes that much for what I do. And everyone has their own preferences, but this is great because you can cover a lot of area if you want to with it, but also you have a straight, thin line on the actual brush. So if you got to do something like that needs to be straight, you can use it for that. You can use the corner of it to make little marks. It's your best friend. Yeah, I love it. And then the only other brush we're going to do, and this will be used mainly for the detailing, but we also have a little liner brush. This is the Princeton Select number 2 liner. And we'll get to that, but that'll be later. So let's grab a little yellow.
Do you want to pull that to your left?
Absolutely.
That way we can see you mixing. Thank you,
Yes. So I'm just going to grab some yellow pigment here and get it, is all over my brush. And then just start to put it in with this white up here. And to be honest, I think I'm going to need already like another little squirt of yellow. That happens,
Luckily, the whole tube.
Whoops. Okay.
So I got some information for you on the avocado.
Go on.
Okay. It is actually considered, it's technically considered a single-seeded berry.
It's a berry?
It's a berry.
What?
Yeah.
I never would have guessed that.
What makes the avocado so versatile is its sweet yet savory flesh.
Is there sweetness to it? Because
I don't think so.
I've never. And granted,
I personally eat way too many things with sugar.
Me too.
So that may be why I don't consider it sweet.
Yeah.
But it's actually a nutrient-dense fruit.
Okay.
The USDA does classify it as a vegetable based on its common usage.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay.
I think it's called flesh.
Flesh.
Yeah. So I'm going to Google avocado anatomy.
Do that. And what I'm doing, I'm just putting a thin layer, so I'm putting it on the flesh? Is that what we're talking?
I think it's called the flesh.
The flesh. The inner flesh of the avocado. Just a thin layer of this basic yellowy. It's mainly white with a little yellow in it, which goes a long way, I'm using a fair amount of water. And I'm not really worried about anything yet, on this one, so I'm leaving, I want that to be untouched when I get to it with like the browns and reds that we're going to do in the actual pit. The hole, the divot, the cavity, I'm just going to paint over.
I like divot too, though. That's
divot?
a fun one, yeah.
I always think of Space Jam. Newman's like I'm fixing a divot.
Oh, that's amazing. Space Jam.
I watched a lot of Space Jam. I used to watch it, and then it would get me hyped, and I would go shoot hoops,
Yes, I 100% know what you mean. I did the same thing.
Yep. Got me ready for art school. All right. So.
I was homeschooled, so it didn't get me anywhere.
Bro, I was homeschooled too. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
I was homeschooled in kindergarten, and then public school, and then 5th grade and 6th grade.
Wow.
And then I went half days in 7th and 8th grade.
Nice.
But did you?
I never went to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, you turned out fine.
Fairly normal. Sitting behind cameras watching people.
Yeah, yeah. This is gonna get cut. Okay. So, all right. So we're in the underpainting phase still.
So for anyone new, could you explain underpainting to us again?
Yeah, good call. So underpainting is just a loose term for like the first layer of paint that you put on anything. Sometimes people start with an acrylic, like even oil painters will start with an acrylic underpainting. And it's basically the goal of it is to just get everything mapped out. You work general to specific. So when you're making the underpainting, the main thing is just getting the colors where you think you're going to want them, and getting the whole thing covered so that there's not little pieces of paper and canvas like sticking out at the end. That's what an underpainting is.
Cool.
Let's do. There's several things that we could do next, but let's clean off our brush for a second, and then, well, don't get too worried about which jar either. Lord knows I don't. Okay. So, all right, time to get a little more white on the palette. We're gonna mix a little pink. I don't really want any other colors in there at this point, because at the end, like I really like the relationship between this warm, kind of washed out pink, and all the greens and blues and the brown, all the cool colors that you find in the actual berry or whatever it is. So I went with a pink background. You'll notice, like, I don't know if you have, you do have the other still life, and what we went with for that, because it's a grapefruit, and that's warm colors like orange and yellows and reds in a grapefruit, we went with a cool background. So we went with, kind of a blue-green. And it's good, especially when you're starting. Now, you can always, the rules are made to be broken someday, but general rule of thumb, if you have, if your subject, in this case an avocado, is mainly cool colors, the best way to contrast that is to pick warm colors for the background, so they stand out and they complement each other, hence complementary colors. So yeah, let's just define the background. You don't have to be too specific about the edges. You don't have to fret over them yet. We're just getting a general idea of what the background's going to look like. And all I did was mix red and white, titanium white. But you can kind of drag your brush around. If you want the edges to be good and crisp, it's best to do it in like one stroke, Oh,
rather than breaking your stroke?
Yeah. So like if, it's better than, you see how that's like a soft line?
Uh-huh.
And there are times where you need a soft line. But pretty much everything here, since this is like a close-up image, everything should be pretty crisp if we're talking about painting something realistically. Nothing's off in the distance. There's no cause for blurry edges. Need a little more water. So sorry to get off subject here, but it's possible. Were you ever in chess club?
Chess club?
Like,
I was not.
Okay, because I was in the homeschool chess club, out of
Wow.
St. Joseph, Missouri. And I thought maybe,
St. Joe, huh?
yeah, never mind.
I grew up in Kidder.
Kidder.
Mm-hmm. So I was not only homeschooled and isolated, but I was in the smallest town in the area.
Right.
So I never left.
Yeah.
They had a park though, so that's where I met people.
Right, right. You gotta. I know the struggle. You gotta.
How was chess club? What was that like?
Man, I thought I was good before I went there. These kids are monsters at chess. I remember one time I was playing against it was like a chess tournament, and there was a little kid that was way younger than me. I was probably 11 or something. This kid was like 5 or looked like 5.
Dang.
And he took all my pieces so quickly, and he began playing, like he had his own little scenario he was playing with the pieces that I had taken. And I was like, man,
He's playing
this
3
kid is
different
going
games.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serious. Wow. Good for him. And good
Yeah.
for you for trying to beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Way to
look-
try.
Ugh. That you can't judge a book by its cover,
No. Especially when you don't know about chess club.
right? Okay. So we got a little bit, pretty thin layer of paint around the edges here. Let's go ahead and start to put a shadow on these, so we start to get a little bit of sense that these aren't just flat little slivers, And to do that, let's rinse off. Still going to use the flat brush.
Question.
Go on.
In case I missed it, did you explain as to why the right avocado you filled in the cavity versus the left one you did not?
So I might have not been the clearest on that, and in case I wasn't, so this cavity is going to be defined by the edges, but it is all the same material as this flesh, this yellow creamy flesh of the avocado. So in my mind, it makes sense to go ahead and cover it, since it's all going to be basically that color, and then we'll define it with the shadow going around the edge there. Whereas this is going to be a completely different color, and I really want this to pop.
Gotcha.
Like that's
makes
my
sense.
favorite part of this. I like the pit.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay.
You don't want to contaminate it with different undertones.
Yeah. Although you could.
Yeah. Could be your jam.
Yeah.
Your jam sandwich.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and we're gonna in this, what I was talking about earlier with this ultramarine blue, with this particular red, it gets dark quickly.
You
And-
want to scoot that up a little bit?
Scoot it
Up.
up.
Yep.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right. So it's mainly going to be blue and red. Going to go ahead and grab that. And it's open to interpretation, of course, because this is like a pink table that the avocado is sitting on. But for these purposes, I want it to be like kind of a purple shadow cast on there. And it makes a fair amount of sense. Sometimes like the shadow might look kind of purple on a pink surface. That's something that I like to do. With a lot of my projects, I like to experiment, see what I can get away with as far as having, because we don't think of shadows as having color. You don't naturally think of it that way. So I like to experiment with that. What happens if the shadow has a little green in it or something? You know?
Like Tebow.
Like what?
Like Tebow.
T-Bone?
The artist, Tebow.
Oh,
I don't
Wayne
know his
T.
first
There you go. Oh man, you're already doing callbacks.
Well,
That's awesome. Tebow is my boy. I love that guy. Wayne Tebow. Look him up.
it's a strange spelling, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. It's so Wayne is Wayne, obviously, but Tebow is Thiebaud, I think.
Wow.
I think that's it.
You know what? I'll Google him for you. Just double check. I don't know. Wayne Tebow.
Yes.
I'll misspell it on purpose.
Mm-hmm. That is my boy. All right. So.
Yes, it is Thiebaud.
Mm-hmm. So I got it right?
You nailed it.
Wonderful. All right. So as far as the underpainting is concerned, that's good enough on the shadows for now. We're going to go back over them later, but it gives us an idea of where they're going to go.
Nice.
All right. Let's start the fun part, the part that we've all been waiting for, the pit. Let's go ahead and rinse here, and then let's get another squirt of red. The first coat on this, the way we're gonna do it is just like a basic like orange, and then when you're trying to make something three-dimensional like this, where the shadow has a gradient, so it starts light over here, and then it gradually goes to dark.
Would you want to show that to us
On the little
reference?
guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So what I was saying is that when you put a gradient on something that's spherical or, whatever shape this is, it's not quite a sphere, but
Oblong.
it's oblong.
Sphere.
Yes.
Sure.
So when you do that, it's just going to be a constant back and forth, and we'll get to it in a moment, but we're going to have dark paints over here trying to put a shadow on it, whereas there's going to be a lot of white in the paint over here, and we're going to go back and forth a million times until it looks natural. But if we put an orange, the brightest color on this thing, just kind of an orange layer beneath it, I like the way that it shines through,
Totally.
So that's why I'm doing that. So the red is going to overpower the yellow pretty quick. So when you're mixing that, be careful with how much red you actually put into the yellow, because it goes a long way. It's mainly yellow.
Looks like a honey color right now.
It does.
I like
it does.
that.
And that's the coolest thing, whenever you get tired of painting with one palette, there's a million different just standard primary colors that you can do before you even get into secondary colors and stuff like that. It's fun. I actually want a little bit more red.
Follow-up question about avocados.
Go on.
Is guacamole in fact just avocado jam?
Doesn't guac have something else in it? I really don't know, man.
Because if it's a fruit and you're mashing it together,
that's jelly.
that's jam.
Are
jelly.
we gonna split hairs here?
We might.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Got in the focus mode.
I just get lost in the arts sometimes, you know. I don't say things like that.
Sounded natural. It was nice.
Did it?
Yeah. Until you followed it up with, I don't say things like that.
Yeah. I don't know. So at this point, we basically have an underpainting on our hands. You know, the whole thing is covered pretty much. There's some parts peeking out, but we'll address them later. So now we can kind of, before we take our break, we're just going to kind of start to give these sections a little bit more form. And while this is wet, this is a particularly good time to start adding some value changes. And since we have, so I'm going to get a little bit more red. And there's a lot of different ways you could go about this, but the way I'm going to do it right now, I'm going to take advantage of what I still have on the palette right now, which is important if you're trying to conserve paint, if you're balling on a budget like I am, you know? So I'm going to kind of mix a brown. All you got to do is take this orange, kind of throw it into this purple over here, and you got a good brown. So now, so the right side, in this composition, the light is coming from above, but it's coming from over here, like the left side. So stands to reason, this side is the dark side of the Avocado pit.
Movie coming soon to theaters near you.
Was there an avocado on VeggieTales?
Oh, I don't know, because it's VeggieTales, so it's a fruit. It may not have made the cut.
Right, but there was a Madame Blueberry. Did you watch VeggieTales?
Oh, yeah. Big
I
fan of
certainly did.
VeggieTales.
I certainly did. Do you still watch VeggieTales?
I actually haven't watched VeggieTales in a long time, but I do sing, did you ever see the We Are the Pirates?
Who don't do anything?
Who don't do anything.
Come on, of course I did.
Right after Space Jam.
Right.
I sang that with my daughters.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. We're at the park. It's a good time.
Yeah, I watched a lot of VeggieTales. Okay. So, got to start to that. The shadows on the actual, like, pit, or the cavity, the pit cavity, they're kind of, I was looking at it this morning, it's kind of a gray color on the inside that defines this. It's not, I don't know how it reads on camera right now, but it
reads how you see it.
Sure. So it's like, this looks pretty dark, you know. It's not black though. I think it's important to note, if you put just like a black line here, that's not really what I want from this piece, you know. It becomes kind of illustration-y or something. And another thing, rule of thumb, shadows don't have hard edges. I wish they did, because it'd make things simpler. But if you look at a shadow, it doesn't just end. I mean, to a certain extent, some shadows are pretty crisp looking, but there's no defined edge to a shadow. It bleeds out. It's a gradient.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start to kind of define this. Let's get more blue. Maybe grab it. I have a little bit of white that hasn't been touched here. And we get kind of a gray. That's pretty brown. And if you have a brown, you'll figure this out just by working with this stuff. But blue, if you add blue to a brown, you'll get more gray. That's kind of what we're looking for. Let's try it out. Let's see how it looks. So the cavity. That's pretty watery. That might be more watery than I want. Let's get more paint on there. Okay. And just around the edge, the rim of this cavity, there's a pretty defined shadow.
I like that.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna do maybe one more thing before we call it good on the underpainting, and then we can take our break. So the last thing, we're gonna treat ourselves to the little brush. We're gonna mix a little bit of yellow. Let's just grab this. Doesn't matter if it has some red in it. That might actually be kind of cool. Just grab some blue. This green that we're making we want it to be mainly blue. A lot more blue than yellow in this green. Because we're gonna just paint a thin line to represent the skin of this avocado. And we're going to go back over it eventually, of course. But we just want to define the edges, and then we can take our break. Okay.
And these are steps 1 through which one?
Oh. I was afraid you were going to ask that. So I guess this is step 4.
Okay.
This is outline the avocado.
So they've already accomplished steps 1 through 4.
This is step 5, sorry.
Step 5.
This is 5.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that the last 2 steps I'm gonna change that and make it 1 step.
All right, cool.
But it just makes sense, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I trust you.
Yeah. You know is like my filler word, you know?
Oh,
It's stuff.
I do know that.
Okay. This is a pretty sloppy line as of right now, but I'm not worried. Are you worried, Keenan?
I would be lying to you if I said I was not worried.
Okay.
But I do the same thing to Sarah.
Is this stressing you out? We can go back to grapefruits.
It's just a more defined rule. If it's a grapefruit, I know that it's a fruit.
Yes,
Avocado is just throwing me off.
Yeah. Society is not ready for these avocado paintings.
That's right.
Oh, fun. Okie doke. Okay. So that's it for the first part. We have the underpainting done. So the rest of this and the fun part of this is in part 2. If you guys can, go ahead and upload to Instagram what you have so far for your underpaintings. I think it's a really cool exercise to do. Just show what you did for the underpainting, because the difference between an underpainting and a finished study like this is just tremendous. And this is like the fun part where it comes to life. So if you can, go ahead and upload the image you have of the underpainting to Instagram. You can tag us at Let's Go Make Art, or use the hashtag Let's Make Art. Either way, we'll see them. But yeah,
And
that's
we
it.
want to see them. We're excited to see them.
Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit to see you guys.
Yes.